Also, if anyone has any questions as we go along, feel free to private text me or shout. The best way to reach me would be to private text me, and I will answer any questions as as I get them, or as as I can. My name is Patrick Lynch, and I am the Illinois State Broker for EXP. And welcome to my session. So you want to be a luxury agent, and as they say, be careful what you ask for. So in general, the word luxury seems to be applied pretty universally. You have luxury condos or luxury golf homes, but you're never really quite sure what luxury means. So really, a more accurate description of what my presentation is representing wealthy clients, and this is taken from the middle of the road buyer or seller perspective. There are general rules of the road to work with buyer clients that are high net worth, that have the means to do what they want when they want, and so I will endeavor to touch on the nuances, the things that you probably haven't heard before in a presentation, things that people just haven't told you. How to interact with wealthy clients, how to talk with them, things to say, things not to say, how to dress. These types of suggestions that will help you either build your client base in the luxury realm or to break into it. And if anybody has thought about doing this presentation, I hope, will give you some of my best practices in moving forward. Just to give you a quick background on me, I've been in real estate for close to 20 years in various capacities. Our family business is real estate. I have an architectural history background. I've represented very wealthy clients on both sides. I've represented celebrities, CEOs, a few professional athletes. They all have certain commonalities, and they also have a few nuances that are specific to their industry. So, I thought that I would take this from the perspective of representing a wealthy client. And with that, let's begin. So, as I understand, you are thinking to yourself, "Wow, it'd be great to work with a wealthy client. It'd be great to break into that luxury market. You get higher price point, higher transaction, higher commission. Yeah, those things are all true. However, there are certain things that you need to know before you just show up at a client's door and about to give them a listing presentation, or as Pam says, have a listing conversation with them. So what I'll cover today is the similarities and differences that wealthy clients have compared to every other client that you have. Then I'll cover there are three aspects to representing wealthy clients that I found that are really key to building that client base. These are these are observations and personal experiences that will help you understand the mindset of a wealthy client and how they think, how they view the world, and what they expect from their service providers. And that's something to keep in mind. We are their service provider, so we need to be mindful of where you fit into their life. So there are the three aspects: are the marketing and positioning of yourself. Face it, folks. We market ourselves either actively or passively every day as soon as we get up. We go out in the world, and our presence and what we do and what we say, it's all personal marketing. Next aspect is finding and attracting them, the wealthy client. How do you do that? Do you just hang out at a coffee shop? Do you just send blanket mailers to your neighborhood? No, those things don't work with wealthy clients. They're more insulated from those types of marketing campaigns. So I'll cover that. And then once you do have them, what do you need to do to service them? And if you service them properly, then they'll be long-term clients. And then at the end, I'll touch on some tips and takeaways. Just little suggestions that I found really helped me in build a wealthy client base. All right, so thank you very much. So, what are the similarities to other clients that wealthy clients have? Well, they too are educated about the real estate market. Okay? They're going online. They're educating themselves just like every other client out there. Okay? They have a need to have information interpreted. They are going to the Trulios and Zillows just like everyone else, and they're getting the raw data. Or they talk to their friend at the country club and they found out that their friend's house sold for X amount, so they think that their house must be worth that. So they're looking for the dissemination of information, just as every other client is. They need to be kept informed. Every client needs to be kept informed. They need to have their expectations managed, just like every other client, and that's your job as the go-to person, as the trusted advisor. Keep your clients informed and manage their expectations. So there's no different there. Hey Lorraine, can you mute your mic, please? I'm getting a little feedback. Thank you. So, what are the differences between your clients and regular clients and wealthy clients? The manner in which they are educated about the real estate market. They're going to the Trulios and Zillows, but as I touched on, they're probably getting some bits of information from their friends at the club, from their neighbors, from their financial advisors. Okay, most wealthy clients have some type of private banker, some type of estate planner that's in their lives, and they're getting that information from them. So it's even more important for us as agents to make sure that they are getting accurate information. That's where we step in. They differ in the manner in which they want to be involved in the real estate process, whether buying or selling. Okay, they're very busy individuals. They're CEOs. They're partners at law firms. They're doctors. Okay, they are third generation trust funds. They have busy lives, and more often than not, they don't want to be involved with the day-to-day issues of buying or selling their real estate. However, because they're used to being in control, because they rule their roost in their various realms, okay, they struggle with that hands-off versus micromanaging you. And you need to be aware of that. Okay? Some of us in the industry tend to shy away from being micromanaged. Some people are okay with that. There is a fine line between a complete laissez-faire and micromanaging approach that your wealthy clients will adopt. It's up to you to figure out what that is and be aware that that's in play. Also, most wealthy clients are very demanding and they're perfectionists. They know what they want. and they won't settle for second best. They won't settle. Actually, oftentimes they won't settle, and that is something that if you want to deal with and have wealthy clients as part of your sphere, that is something that you need to be aware of. Trust me, that's not something you're going to change. You can coach and advise as much as you can, but they are used to getting their way, and they more often than not require more attention. Definitely, they like information. They want to be kept informed, and it's up to you to do that and figure out how best they want to be kept informed. So, marketing yourself. That is the key to getting in the door, if you will. Okay, to interacting with the wealthy clientele, and how we are perceived, i.e., judged, depends on three points, three aspects. Okay, how we dress, how we talk and write, and how we behave. And while we as real estate agents are taught not to judge our clients, and the phrase that comes to mind is "don't judge a book by its cover," okay, because you never know how your clients are going to be dressed, or how they are going to present themselves. Okay, they are going to judge us. Okay, even if we're not interacting with prospective wealthy clients, like it or not, we are perceived by our peers, by our clients, by everyone, by these 3 points: how we dress, how we talk and write, and how we behave. How you navigate that is completely up to you. I found that if you want to be taken serious in a business environment, if you want to be taken serious in the wealthy client realm, you need to pay attention to these things. If you don't care about them, then maybe catering to the wealthy to the wealthy clientele might not be your strength, and that's okay. I'm just trying to give you the tools that I believe you'll need, and that I found worked for me in attracting wealthy clients to my sphere. So let's start with how we dress. Now, like I said, I'm going to be covering things that you probably haven't heard from other people, or you have heard it from a different perspective. I'm going to be point blank. These are the things that I've experienced that work for me in the Chicago market. I know agents in other major markets that cater to the luxury realm, and it's a commonality that these points are necessary and important to the wealthy clientele. So, how we dress. As they say in general, dress for success. If you want to attract wealthy clients, okay, if you're a woman, then your attire should be indicative of that, should be representative of the folks that you want to attract. Okay, so for women, a business suit or a pantsuit, skirt or dress, no revealing tops, minimal visible jewelry and piercings. So important. Unless you're targeting the hipster .com tech group, or you are if you've gotten in with the music industry, okay, having lots of jewelry and piercings, and this goes for men as well, is not going to serve you well. Okay, if you want to, if you want to really, reach these folks, keep it to a minimum. And again, it goes back to how you're perceived. For men, same thing. Collared shirt, pressed and tucked, slacks or khakis, and if all possible, jacket and tie. Prior to joining EXP, I was with a venerable company in Chicago called Rubloff, and for the first 6 years at Rubloff, there wasn't a day that I didn't show up in a jacket and tie. That has served me well. I've since relaxed my dress code a little, based on new experiences and how I'm interacting with a wider range of folks, as state broker. But these types of suggestions will serve you well. Again, minimal jewelry, much easier for a guy. Minimal piercings. Again, if you're trying to go for the hipster crowd, maybe jewelry and piercings will help you out. Typically not, as a general rule, in attracting wealthy clients. So the next aspect of marketing yourself is verbal and written communication. And I can't tell you how bothersome it is. And I know, Pam and I have had this conversation, that grammar does matter. Okay, people pay attention to those things. Being well spoken, articulate yourself, and then also use handwritten notes. People really appreciate that in general, but I can assure you that will help solidify yourself in the eyes of a wealthy client on either side of the fence. Years ago, I went to Cranes and got personalized stationery. I also had stationery made of our company logo. So I send personal notes. Depending if it's more personal or if it's business, I'll use either one. The little things, the details, really, really matter. Can't stress enough that grammar does work. Wealthy folks, more often than not, will judge you by how well you articulate yourself. The next aspect that I want to touch on is the etiquette in marketing yourself. Again, these are things that I found are crucial, but people typically won't tell you these things, and your clients are certainly not going to tell you. They'll just disappear, or they'll decide to work with someone else. Number one, use discretion at all times. What does that mean? That means if you're interacting with a client, don't brag about the other clients that you have. Don't talk about your other client's house. Okay, they'll listen and they'll receive the gossip. But trust me, if you're saying that this information, you're saying these things to them, they're thinking to themselves, well, if he's saying it to me, he's probably talking to other people about my stuff. Okay. Wealthy clients want discretion. They want to be discreet, especially if you get into the high net worth, the ultra rich, the celebrities, and the professional athletes. They are extremely cautious about people who have the tendency of bragging. Don't express your personal opinions in interacting with your clients. Yes, you are there to provide advice as it relates to real estate based on their wants and needs and the conversations you've had. But, your personal opinion about, the size of the bedroom that they're looking for, or, the street that they seem to like, or your personal opinion about anything. It's irrelevant. Okay? And wealthy clients don't want to hear it. Trust me, they don't want to hear your opinion, and it only erodes your credibility with them if you're going to go on and on about something that's bothered you. Avoid topics of contention. Sometimes we're looking for things to talk about with our clients. Avoid topics of contention. If the city's council just voted on something and it's polarizing your community, typically you don't want to go there. You don't know what side of the fence they're on. As a general rule, avoid discussing religion, politics, and sex. That's a no-brainer. You don't know where they stand on these issues. You oftentimes won't know their religion. So you don't want to have a conversation that might offend your client. Politics, polarizing topic. It might become readily apparent of your client's political affiliation, and it may or may not agree with yours. It doesn't matter. Unless you're focusing on developing wealthy clients within a certain subset, and this applies, then I suggest steering clear. An example would be, say you're involved with the political campaign of a candidate running for office. Obviously, that is a subset of a subset. If you think that you can cultivate in there, then go for it. Be Switzerland. Be neutral. It's the best thing. I've learned that that err on the side of diplomacy. It was the way I always viewed it. My client asked my opinion about something polarizing. I said, well, that's not really part of what's going on. So I don't feel comfortable answering. People appreciate that. It helps keep you focused. It helps keep them focused on the issue at hand, and that is trying to help them find a place or trying to sell their property. Sorry, take a little pause here. Anybody have any questions? Anyone? All right, I'll continue. So, how do we find wealthy clients? The best way to do that is to associate, affiliate, and volunteer. Okay, put yourself out there. Get out there. Rub shoulders with those clients, those people that you want to cultivate. You want to establish a connection with. How do we do this? Great question. That's a great question. The question that came in is, what kind of car do you drive? In the past I've had Volvos, BMWs, and Audis. I think that the kind of car you drive matters depending on the luxury market or the wealthy clients that you're trying to attract. I'm finding that there is a growing faction of the high net worth individuals that appreciate environmentally conscious causes. So driving a hybrid would probably ingratiate yourself more with them. But as a general rule, some type of luxury vehicle. If you don't have a luxury vehicle, make sure it's clean. If you ever show up and pick up a client in your car, don't have your McDonald's wrapper on the floor, your junk mail laying there, your half empty Starbucks cup, dust on the dashboard. Trust me, their cars don't look like that. Whether it's a luxury vehicle or not, yours shouldn't either. So I hope that answered your question. So how do you affiliate? How do you volunteer? How do you get in front of folks like this? You can join some type of charitable or civic board. Leukemia Society, Big Brothers, the Symphony, Lyric, Architecture Foundation, anything like that would, when you're on the board of those organizations, they are chock full of those clients that you want to get to know. Most boards have a give-get policy. That's great for us as real estate professionals. A give-get policy is that they have some type of financial obligation. They want, the reason for the board is to raise money for their endeavors. So they have a financial requirement of, say, $1,000. But you can either write a check for that $1,000, or you can find 10 people that'll donate $100, or 2 people that'll donate $500, and there's your $1,000 obligation. In our industry, it's easier for us to find that. And I don't know about you, but whenever I've joined boards, I'd much rather get 10 people to show up at a cocktail party or a black tie than write the check myself. A lot of people don't realize that, but that's really what a board is looking for. They're looking for the money. They either want a check from you or they want access to your Rolodex. Sometimes they want both. That's where you need to choose wisely. You can also join a country club, a golf club, or some type of private club. Private club is a city version of a country club. It's a vertical country club, if you will. That can be a little bit more expensive, but if you do your math and you realize that a year's worth of dues is X amount, and getting one client per year in the luxury realm will more than pay for that membership. But you need to be aware that there has to be an ROI, right? We're running a business, so we have to be conscious of the return on investment. If you can project that after a certain period of time you expect it to have a certain number of clients from your efforts, then it'll pay for itself. Then also attend. The question is if it was worth sponsoring. Hold on, want that to pop up again. Is it worth sponsoring something like theater? Sponsoring? Yes. To be a sponsor, you can, because but if you sponsor an event, then one, it puts the logo out there, and two, usually the sponsorship will get you a ticket to the event that's being held, and you then are able to interact with those who are attending anyway. So yes, I found that to be helpful. Again, judiciously, calculate your ROI, your projected ROI on that, because there are some events that may not get the attendance crowd that you're hoping for, and you need to be aware of that. Clubs, if you're a member of a club, you typically don't have an opportunity to sponsor events at the club. There are events going on, and by dint of you being a member of that club, you're able to take part in various special interest groups, book club, cigar society, wine tastings, those types of things. There's no sponsorship to those types of events, but you're able to attend as a member of the club. Now, you can hold other events at these private clubs. Say, you wanted to have a group meeting of another organization that you're involved in, and you want to meet in one of the rooms or facilities of that club. You can do that. And especially if you're on a board, a charitable board, and that board is looking for a place to hold a meeting, if you can volunteer that you can have the meeting at one of your clubs, people will love that. So I hope that helps. So, as I started saying, attending charitable and civic events strategically, and the question I just answered addresses that. Also, if you're attending these events, more often than not, you'll find, as you probably know, that there are silent auctions. Silent auctions are a great way to get your name out there. Now, granted, it's a long-term play. You have to be patient, but you're there, you're having fun, you're mixing and mingling, and you have a series of silent auction items that are up for bid. It doesn't hurt to put your name on 3, 4, 5, 6. If you have no intentions of winning them, then make sure you bid early. If you are interested, then it can become a little competitive. But the point is that your name, oftentimes your company, and your phone number and or email address are all on there. Okay, for every attendee to see. So it's a great way to put your name in front of the audience. Also, the board members of that organization who's having that event, okay, they are there and they're mindful of the people who are bidding on these items. They'll take note of your name as well, because at some point they may reach out to you and say, "Hey, I see you've attended our events. Would you be interested in joining our board?" Just another way of getting your name in front of people so that you're constantly surrounding yourself with the clientele that you want to attract, right? And it's the best way to do it, or one of the best ways to do it, I should say. So, another way to associate or affiliate is to earn some type of a professional degree. There are 3 that come to mind that I know to have been fruitful for those who have attained these. First is the ALHS, Accredited Luxury Home Specialist. That is very helpful. The second is the CLHMS, Certified Luxury Home Marketing Specialist. Those two are they put you in the midst of other agents who have that designation, and that works great, especially at EXP, where you can have a cross pollination, if you will. Can refer business back and forth. You're part of a list of those who have these designations. Now, I will tell you that both of them require a certain number of transactions that are deemed luxury, and as a general rule, the luxury transaction or the luxury market is 2.5% higher than the average transaction price. 2.5%. Okay? So that's a general rule that's applied across the board. The last certification is the Certified International Property Specialist. That's helpful because international clients have special needs, and more often than not, if an international buyer is looking for real estate, chances are they're wealthy or they have disposable income. So that's a great way to attract them. This brings to mind a book. It's a great book. I highly recommend it if you really want to be involved in the luxury market. That's Kiss, Bower, Shake Hands by Terry Morrison. because if you're going to be catering to international clients, how you interact with them has even further consequences, because their cultures might differ, and oftentimes do differ, than ours. Do you shake their hands? Do you bow? How do you present your business card to an international client? That varies on the country from which they reside, they come from. So these things are nuanced, they're detailed, but they're crucial in successfully representing wealthy international clients. One note that I'd like to stress, and that is, be subtle. Okay, when you're involved with these organizations, clubs, you can't be in your face. You can't if you show up to an event and you throw out your elevator pitch and immediately hand your business card out, they're going to run for the hills, and you'll just make yourself a pariah in that industry. So now that you've rubbed shoulders, now what do you do? So there's again more etiquette involved with going to all these events. And again, and I'm going to say it again, these are things that I found, that I've learned, that being a member of a private club and being on boards, these things matter. Okay, if you're eating, don't gesticulate with your knife and fork. I mean, how many times have we sat at a table and the guy next to you is waving his fork, making a point as he's discussing? Bad form. People hate it. Don't start eating until everyone else that should be served. My apology. Until everyone else is served. If you notice, if you're sitting at an event, all the food is brought out at once. Okay. Wait until everyone has their salad. Wait till everyone has their main course. Okay? It's bad form and impolite to start eating before everyone else has their food. Don't talk with your mouth full. That's my grandmother's favorite. Don't talk with your mouth full. How many times have you heard that over the years? Okay. Well, it's true, because you've seen it and might have even done it. The time when that guy or that woman is talking and a piece of food falls out, it's embarrassing to them. It's embarrassing for you, and quite frankly, it's disgusting. Wealthy clients take note of these things, and they'll avoid you like the plague if you don't have some type of public decorum. Drinking. Drink moderately. Don't want to get drunk in public. Not an event like this. Remember, you're there for a reason. You're there to cultivate clients. Might not be readily apparent to everyone. In fact, it shouldn't be readily apparent to everyone that you're there trying to cultivate clients. But that's what's in the back of your mind. So drink moderately. If you want to tie one on because you had a great time at the event and you have 3 business cards, fine. Meet your friends afterwards somewhere else. But at that event, be conscious that you're on stage. These two are tips that I've learned years ago that really help. Size up the beverage of choice. Going into detail here, like I said, but if you scan the room and you see everyone is drinking wine or mixed drinks, don't order a Miller Lite. There's a reason for that continuity. And if you're trying to break into this crowd, why be the odd man out? Grab something along the lines of everyone else. I mean, typically, it's going to be an open bar or a cash bar. If it's a cash bar, then suck it up. But the thing is that you don't want to be the odd man out in that type of a situation. Now, is there a balance between individuality and conformity? Yes, absolutely. And once you're established in, in a certain social circle, or you are, how shall I say, you're already ingratiated with a certain board or charitable organization, then you can start exhibiting some type of individuality. But if you're trying to break into it, I found that it suggests that you don't. Tip that I learned from one of my mentors years ago: hold your glass in your left hand. Why? Because your right hand is the one that you shake hands with. And if you're holding your mixed drink or your glass of white wine in your right hand and you're introduced to someone, you're shaking your hand with a cold, sweaty, wet glass. And how many times have you been introduced to somebody and they shake your hand and it's cold and it's wet? It's a tip that I learned years ago, and it's really served me well. Just get used to holding your glass in your left hand. This way, you're always ready to be introduced to someone. Conversation for these events. Typical interaction rules: ask open-ended questions. Tone down your elevator pitch, because you will be asked, what you do. Well, be prepared for that. What do you do? Question, and answer it in a very, very casual way. Oh, well, what do you do? I own a real estate company that specializes in historic properties for high net worth individuals. Done. Very similar, very simple. The point, and it's not braggadocious, and it's intriguing enough to start a conversation. You're not there to be the bull in the china shop. You're there to attract wealthy clients, and most wealthy clients don't like in-your-face sales tactics. So now let's move on to the aspect of this equation that is servicing wealthy clients. You've spent the time, you've attended events, you've met wealthy folks, you have wealthy clients, either on the buy side or sell side. What do you do now? Okay, how do you service them? What do you say? What do you don't say? How do you navigate that relationship? Well, from the print and electronic communication perspective, that is your brochures, your emails to them, any postcards, the e-newsletters that you send, any type of communication that you have with them, print or electronic, okay, needs to be refined. So they need to be unique and distinct. Okay? Meaning, a regular flyer that is on an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper probably wouldn't cut it for them. In fact, I know it wouldn't. You're going to have to do something a little bit more special. I know we just rolled out a partnership with a brochure postcard company. I haven't seen their products yet. For years, I've used a company called Express Docs. They have customizable templates that are catered to the luxury market. You can do trifold brochures, 11 by 17s. They do postcards, and they have templates that you can pick and choose and brand. I found them to be excellent in terms of creating that upscale look, if you will, and their prices are outstanding. Use in your brochures, in your photography, use professional photographers. I can't tell you how important it is for a listing client to be able to see photographs of their home way they would envision their home to look in Architectural Digest. I kid you not. Okay, so if you show up to a $3 million house out in the country with your iPhone, I'm telling you that is going to put you at a disadvantage. They're going to notice. In fact, I'd be surprised if they don't say, "Oh, well, I thought you were getting a photographer. I thought you would have a photographer." Okay, I have a photographer that I've used for forever. He knows my style. He knows my clients. I work with him on the angles, and I then sit with my clients and preview the photos with them. It's imperative for this clientele to be involved in the photography process. Okay, this is their opportunity for them to show off their home, and I can assure you, if they're on the buying side, they're looking at photographs in a way that are more scrutinizing than most other clients. And then again, going back to the standard, grammar and punctuation matter. They will pick out any typos and grammatical inconsistencies, and if it's in your marketing materials that you're putting out, they're going to let you know about it. They're going to ding you for it. They want perfection, and it's up to you if you make the decision to cater to that clientele to provide that. Open houses and showings. There are two schools of thought here. There are some wealthy clients that will not, under any circumstances, allow you to have any public houses. They have works of art. They have nice things. They have expensive furniture. They have Oriental rugs. They don't want the masses out. Plus, they also are concerned about having the nosy neighbors. But there are those that feel that having a public open house really helps drive interest and creates a buzz in the neighborhood. That's a conversation that you should have with your client. If you can make a strong argument for a public open house, then do so, but do so cautiously, and assure them that you'll have people there that will not damage anything. VIP events are a great tool because wealthy clients love a party. They love to have exclusive events, exclusive previews. So to be able to have that type of an event, which, keep in mind, okay, is going to be attended by people that your client invites. It's their opportunity to throw a party when they're not really throwing a party. Okay, and that goes a long way in their mind. But it also, think of it this way: it also brings in prospective buyers in that same realm, in that same echelon, if you will, that same price point. Most likely, your buyer would come from that pool or a similar pool of people. And then I feel that broker-only events really work when you're dealing with properties that are exclusive. They are upper bracket. They are the penthouses in Trump Tower. They are the McCormick mansions. These types of things. Broker-only events also allows you to focus the exposure of the property to those agents that tend to work in the high net worth realm. So, the one area that is crucial in servicing wealthy clients is you need to be on your A game. You need to have the expertise in the target market that you've set out to master. Remember, at the beginning, you made the decision. You want to go after luxury clients. You want to expand your base of luxury properties. So in order to do that, you need to know the product. Okay? Are you focusing on gated communities or golf communities? Each one of those has certain needs, certain nuances. Okay? Be the expert for those communities or one specific community. Okay? Know how many homes are in that gated community. Know how many are on the market. Know what the last one sold for. Know the nuances. Know the floor plans of each one of those houses. If it's a gated community, chances are there's a fixed number of floor plans because the developer probably took 5 or 10 floor plans and then just replicated and changed the facades. So know the floor plans. That'll help you calculate value, because value can be calculated on a price per square foot basis, right? Specific town or neighborhood. There are certain towns in your communities, in your areas that are the main lines, or the North Shores, or the neighborhoods, the towns that are known to be very wealthy. There are neighborhoods in Chicago that are very, very exclusive. Gold Coast, parts of Lincoln Park, they are the neighborhoods that, if you want to focus on this marketplace, you need to know the streets, what's happening, trends. Remember, you want to be the go-to person. And if your clients or your targeted clients live in these neighborhoods, you need to know that neighborhood just as well or better than they do. This is the next one tends to focus, is more attuned to the urban environment, cooperatives, co-ops, and high-rise condominiums. Almost always, a co-op is luxury in nature because of their exclusivity. Co-ops tend to attract wealthy individuals because of their financing limitations, because there's a financial review and a personal interview. There are certain co-ops here in Chicago that will not allow financing. You have to buy the unit in cash, and we're talking $4, $5, $6 million. You have to buy it in cash, and you have to demonstrate at least 1 to 2 times the purchase price in liquid assets. Sounds like a lot of hoops to jump through, but it's this exclusivity that people of high net worth are looking for. You need to know the nuance. You need to know those buildings that have these financing restrictions. Excuse me. There are folks that have specific architects that they gravitate towards. I had a client that would only buy a Frank Lloyd Wright home. Well, as we know, Frank Lloyd Wright homes are few and far between, and finding one that's on the market is not the easiest thing to accomplish in Chicago. If you go to Oak Park, Illinois, you will find the highest concentration of Frank Lloyd Wright homes anywhere in the country. If your client doesn't want to live in Oak Park, then you're back to square one. Or some type of architectural style. There are people that love Mies van der Rohe. There are people who love Benjamin Marshall. They know who these architects are, these architectural styles are, because your client is going to. Each one of these have some type of restriction. They have some policy, some conformity requirements, limitations. Know them, because You never want to surprise your client after they fall in love with a particular house in a gated community or a co-op, okay, and they have their beloved dog with them at the closing table, and you find out that the building doesn't allow dogs. You're in a situation that will take a lot of effort to resolve. So know the details. Your communication in your interaction, I think I've driven the point home, really makes a difference. They want to be involved in some way, shape, or form. It's up to you to determine how much and how they want to be informed. So that means that they're high touch. Okay, not can they be high maintenance? Yes, but you know what? I found more often than not, they just want to be part of the process in the way that they choose to be a part of the process. You'll find that wealthy clients, they each have a style. They have a way of doing things. Learn what that style is, and then adapt to it. And as we know, we're chameleons. We're in sales. This is just another way of becoming the chameleon, so that you are viewed as their trusted advisor. A personal example, over the course of years, I've represented a lot of doctors and partners at law firms. I've learned that as a general rule, I'm not going to say universally, but as a general rule, doctors are terrible investors. However, because they're doctors, they have a God complex. So they think they know everything about everything, but they really don't. My way of mastering the interaction with my doctor clients was to allow them to believe that they came up with the idea or they've identified the property. That allowed them to get past that. Oh well, I need to do it. I know what I'm doing. I know what's going on, and lets you keep focused on the goal at hand, and that is to find the property for your client or to sell the property. In short, you're providing a concierge level of service. If you don't, they'll find somebody else who will. That's generally how it is. Now, I know you might be intimidated in interacting with wealthy clients, and I suggest to you don't be. They're approachable. They are usually friendly, but they have different wants and needs. They've achieved certain things in their lives, and rightfully or wrongfully, they feel entitled to certain treatments and certain things. If you want to work in the wealthy with wealthy clients in the luxury realm, you need to be aware of that and provide that service. Nordstrom's recognized that years ago, and they are masterful at providing service and exceeding their customers' expectations. So, in closing, here's some tips and takeaways that I've learned over the years. Don't judge or moralize. Your clients are going to be particular. They're going to be picky. They're going to be persnickety. They are going to be unforgiving. Okay, that may not gel with your way of life. It's irrelevant. You're there to provide a service, and if you can separate, then you'll be a great agent for wealthy clients. You as service providers that specialize in wealthy clients, your lenders, your attorneys, contractors, cleaning crews, okay? Have people that know this marketplace. If you have a client that's interested in buying a co-op, okay, you cannot go to just any lender or the lender that the guy that or girl that you've used for years because you want to send them the business. If they're not well versed at interacting with wealthy clients, it will be a catastrophe. Also, co-op lending is a special niche in and of itself. So that's an aside that needs to be taken into account. But contractors, there are certain contractors that I've worked with over the years that are amazing. They know how to handle wealthy clients. It behooves you to find these folks and keep them in your back pocket so that and when the need arises, and the need will arise if you want to focus and build this part of your business, you can look like the rock star in coming up with somebody that your client can use. Next one, I've learned it really makes a difference. Invest in the clothing that will further your efforts. Again, going back to what I said earlier, dress for success. Best investment I made 20 years ago was to buy a tuxedo because I've worn it, I can't tell you how many times. Do I wear it all the time now? No, I don't. But you know what? I can tell you that the cost of that tuxedo was paid for tenfold by the number of clients that I've cultivated over the years. If you don't want to do the tuxedo, do something that will set your suit apart. French cuff shirts. They become very popular, and French cuff shirt pressed with a set of cufflinks will set you apart and will ingratiate yourself with the clients that you want to attract. Chances are those clients are wearing French cuff shirts anyway. For women, some type of a ball gown or a specialty garment. A friend of mine who's an agent here in Chicago, she decided that her thing was going to be silk scarves from Hermes. So every now and then she would buy herself a silk scarf. That became her look, and her clients loved it. Madeleine Albright, her thing was a brooch, and she wore a brooch every day that she was in public, that she met with dignitaries, and that became her thing. She's famous for her brooch collection. Find something that will help distinguish you, that will set you apart, that's classy, that's classic, and that's tasteful. And lastly, the last point that I want to make is a saying I've said many times, and some of you might have even heard me say it. Act like a used car salesman, you'll get treated like one. That can't be more true than interacting with the clients, with high net worth individuals. Wealthy clients will smell you from a mile away and they'll run. They won't even say anything to you. They'll just run. I've learned that. I've observed that. I've never been that type of salesman, and that served me well. But I've observed people in my office that were, and it's kind of humorous, although I don't want to laugh at the person's expense. But it's not the manner in which one should conduct themselves if they want to focus in on this route. So I hope these tips, these tricks, these suggestions will help you make that decision and help you on that road to working with wealthy clients. And with that, I'm here for any questions that you may have. I think I saw another question by Doug. Many of the larger homes can take a long time to sell. What types of programs? Yes, you are absolutely right. Yes, the average market time for a luxury home in your community is going to be longer than the average home. It's going to be longer. Oftentimes, it can take a year and a half for a luxury property to sell. I'm about to put a 4,000 square foot log cabin, if you will, in Iowa on 30 acres overlooking the Iowa River on the market for right around $1 million, projecting it to take at least 8 months to sell. What do you do? That's where your communication comes into play. Set up early in the relationship a particular day. Schedule it that you will have a conversation, or if they want a face-to-face meeting, and you just meet with them or just discuss with them the activity that you've seen in the marketplace, any calls that you've gotten, any hits on your website that you've seen for the property, and just keep them informed. Even if you have nothing to say, even if you have no news, you have that on your schedule. They know it's on your schedule, and you can stick by it much more easily, and you can keep them informed, and you can keep, this is important, you can keep front of mind. Because if 6 months go by, 7 months go by, there's nothing happening, if you're feeling frustrated that nothing's happening, I can assure you they are. Because they're the ones that need to keep the house in show ready. They're the ones that that want to move on psychologically to the next chapter in their lives. So reach out to them on a regular basis. And the tactic that I've used was just to schedule a weekly call. Hope that helps. Anyone else have any questions? All right, folks. Well, I appreciate you listening. I hope that this has helped you in some way, shape, or form. If you have any questions that you want to ask me one-on-one, feel free to text or call or email me. You know where to find me. And other than that, have a great weekend and have a productive weekend. Take care now. Thank you. Thank you, folks. I appreciate it.